I want to go back to something that Rich just reported to us, that Democrats' early voting in Cuyahoga County in Ohio might be lagging behind what it was in the previous election cycles. If you look at the front page of the New York Times online, they have this article that says this. I'm just going to read from it, Brett. Turnout tallies and interviews with dozens of early voters suggest that even a vintage October surprise may pack less of a punch than it did once. So that's interesting because those are two very different pictures. The New York Times saying, well, maybe this won't have that much of an effect on the election. Rich saying, on the ground, we're already seeing potentially some effect in Ohio. What do you think is the effect? Here we are 1 week out from voting day.
So I think we'll get some new polls in the next couple of days. It'll actually push towards the weekend, and we'll get a sense of what the real impact is. But this race was already closing as expected. You know, most races close at the end. This one was already closing, and Donald Trump was seeing a tightening in several state polls as well as national polls. I think that this accelerates that. But to Tim Kaine's point, it may also invigorate Democrats. That's not a joke, because there may be some who thought that this was in the bag, and they may get enthusiastic by the threat that they keep on hammering that this could really happen, the Donald Trump presidency. On the Republican side, it puts a jolt of energy in people who said he really didn't have a chance. Now they see he has a path to 270, and they say this thing's going to happen. I think you're going to see big money donors, Jenna, move towards Donald Trump, ones that maybe put their money on the side. We may hear that soon.
And then money matters. We know that for sure. You know, all last week, all we talked about, and obviously this is the biggest story in the nation, Brett, the FBI investigation. But one of the big stories last week was health care. And this week we have the open enrollment period opening for Americans across the country to see exactly what their health care is going to cost. And we're not really talking about that today because obviously this is the bigger story. But I'm curious how you think that also factors in just before the election for viewers and voters to see those actual prices.
Politically, I think that's the bigger story, because if you think about it, the families that are affected with these not only higher premiums that are exponentially higher in some states, 116% in Arizona, other places, but also the deductibles. We don't often talk about the deductibles and how high they are. So even if you're paying premiums and you get the subsidy, the deductible that you have to pay before they kick in the health care is significant in some places, and the choices are fewer. Now, the administration says they're going to try to fix this, as does Hillary Clinton, but that is probably the biggest political mover. And for these Senate candidates, with the balance of the Senate hanging on Election Day, I think Republican Senate candidates look at what happened with the emails, Obamacare, and think, you know, they've got something to run on there.
An interesting combination of stories. Brett, we look forward to your special report tonight, as we have over the last few days. It's nice. I think we should just do 7 days of special report.
Oh,
what do you
sure.
think? No big
Our
deal.
family will be fun.
Brett, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you at 6 p.m. It might be a different world by then.